Hi, my name is Ashley Quigley, and for this assignment, I decided to read a book called Imagine Wanting Only This by Kristen Radke. This book is actually different than other graphic novels because she is the creative team for it. She did the lettering, the drawing, the scripting, everything was all her, which I think makes it a little bit more unique than some other graphic novels that are out there. It's published by Pantheon Books, which is a division off of Penguin Random House. It is 278 pages. It is a graphic novel. It's not part of a volume set. It's the only book she's ever written, and it's different because it's actually a memoir. And she chose to do it this way because she's been sketching most of her life, and it was just the best way that she could get the message that she wanted out there. Act 1 begins on page 1 and it goes to page 71. Act 2 goes from 72 to 206. Act 3 is 207 to 278, which is the end of the book. I think that all the acts do fit the model because all of the characters and their relationships are established very quickly in there, because the main character is Kristen and she determines who all of her relationships are right away. Right in the beginning, she talks about her uncle, Dan, who is her favorite person in the entire world. It starts off with memories, how he was a firefighter, and how she would go out with him at night and catch fireflies, and just different things that they would do together. And then it goes into talk about how their family has a chronic heart condition that is genetic, and that they're all surviving it, but it still keeps coming back. And that's actually the antagonistic force in this story. It's not like other graphic novels where it could be something that is very obvious. The antagonistic force in this is just death and having to deal with life and moving forward and how it can be difficult. And I think that's what made me like it. It's very clear that it's Kristen's story because it is a memoir. The story has a clear beginning, middle, and end, and that's what kept me engaged. The goal of the story is for her to find her place because everything around her right now is death and decay, and while she's fascinated by it, she's feeling the depression, anxiety, and stress of it also. Kristen experiences a strong character arc because it's her memoir. It's a story of her journey going through what happens after her uncle passes. This is her going to the funeral after she finds out. And then afterwards she realizes that she can't handle staying in one place anymore, so she takes a job as a nanny across the world. And from there, when she gets back, she continues going to school, but she still travels the world and finds more areas that remind her of the death and decay that is happening around her. There are effective transitions, and I think it's mostly when something significant happens in her life. And since the story is all nonfiction, it makes it even better. For example, when at the beginning she finds photographs when her and Andrew, who's her boyfriend at the time, go into a rundown chapel. They find moldy photos, and later they learn some of the significance of those photos. And then again when she gets that nanny position. The graphic novel is written and transitioned in transitions action to action in the panels. On most pages you can see that the that they're set up like a mini comic. I think a lot of things are different for this graphic novel because it's a memoir. She didn't use a team or a company, everything was hers, so she didn't have as many rules that she had to follow. I think there's good directional flow in it because the story moves from beginning to end and never loses its pace. It's clear to see that she had to experience these things and live through them to get to where she is today, which after research, she's a director. The art is so neat and beautifully drawn on here, yet simple that it keeps it together. At the very end of the book, it is mostly just her drawings, which on her website you can actually buy now, which I thought was pretty amazing. I would recommend it to my classmates because it's not a normal graphic novel. There's no superheroes or fighting in it or gore or anything like we've been reading for the past month. It's simple and down to earth, and I think that's what made it really good. I was actually surprised by it. And I definitely would recommend it to my friends. I myself suffer from anxiety and depression and can relate to many emotions that Kristen feels. This whole book is set into motion when Kristen loses her uncle. I myself have lost my grandmother this past May, and I'm still thrown off balance from it. I can relate to how she feels. And this graphic novel is how I can kind of relate to that. I think that this graphic novel is something that is so honest and pure, and it just shows a normal life, not knowing how to react to a death of someone they love. The fun fact that I want to mention about this book is that she did everything herself. She drew it, she lettered it, and she also even added photographs, real photographs that she had done herself. Like this one. She takes a real photograph, puts it in there, and just adds her sketches to it. And the first one, so this is something that I definitely recommend reading.